this factory in West London, the founder of Polsteel is planning to revolutionise the way steel is purchased. His master plan? An online tool that will allow customers to order cut and fabricated steel for delivery within the hour. But there's a hitch, and the clue's in the company's name. Polsteel is Polish, and with Brexit in the pipeline, that could spell disaster. Or will it?
I'm not concerned about Brexit, and in fact I voted to leave the EU.
Polsteel's Polish founder isn't concerned about his long-term prospects once the UK leaves the EU. Now that's partly because after 10 years here he's become a British citizen. But his company only hires Polish people and provides services mainly to small Polish construction companies. So is Michael Krajewski worried about losing his workforce?
The risks of losing migrant workers is obviously quite high, but on the other hand we are all in the same boat. So if we lose our workers, so will the competition. In my opinion, it is very, very unlikely for the government to suddenly kick out all migrant workers away, because it will just ruin the economy, so they can't afford to do it.
Krajewski started Polsteel in a garage filled with steel parts and a cardboard box as a desk. Now there's a proper desk in a proper office, which is just one room in a 2,000 square metre production space. And that is set to double as Polsteel opens a second unit in the coming weeks. The company now has 26 staff employees, and its revenues are £2.9 million. Krajewski says the UK has been good to him, but the EU hasn't.
When it comes to EU legislation, the steel sector has been hit quite hard in 2014. We were one of the first companies in London to implement the new rules, but there are still some companies today that never bothered, and unfortunately we have to compete against them. We have higher costs because of the regulations, and unfortunately it is a very unfair situation.
Polsteel is just one part of the Polish Brexit picture. And according to the British-Polish Chamber of Commerce, the full picture is as varied among UK-based Poles as it is among all people across the UK. Many Poles may have thanked the EU when freedom of movement allowed them to set up in Britain in 2004. But for those like Krajewski, the honeymoon with Europe is over. Belle Lupton, TRT World, London.
And joining me is Michael Clay. He is the Vice Chairman of the British-Polish Chamber of Commerce, and he joins me over the phone from the Spanish city of Alicante. Michael, great to have you with us on Money Talks. Listen, you heard the report there from Belle Lupton, and what do you think of the comments there that the head of Polsteel continues to see opportunities for his company outside of Brexit? Is that replicated by some of your members as well?
Yes, I think it is. Good afternoon or good evening. The fact of the matter is that Brexit has been a subject which seems to have frightened an awful lot of people, and very often unnecessarily. The concept of what that really means, especially to the migrant workers in the UK, is very varied. Some fear it and are destined to return to their homelands just simply because they are scared that they might otherwise be barred from remaining in the UK or barred from working here. Most of the Polish companies, and you mentioned earlier 22,000 Polish companies have been established in the UK. Many of those companies, whilst employing Polish nationals, also employ an awful lot of British people too. And it's not just Polish companies for Polish people, it's Polish companies for jobs generally in the UK.
Michael Clay of the British-Polish Chamber of Commerce. I wish we had more time, but thank you very much indeed for your input. Thank you there.